Obviously, people have been disrespecting Jokic.
I was one of those people. You know that Shaq meme was like, I wasn't really familiar with your game. Watching Jokic just take it up a whole nother level during this playoff run, he's definitely earned my respect.
I ain't gonna lie, I was hating, and I'm gonna tell you why I was hating. Seeing a white man win MVP 3 years in a row in the black man's league wasn't happening.
Nikola Jokic is a top contender for this year's Most Valuable Player award. While it highlights Jokic's dominance, securing the MVP as his own, it also leads to voters feeling tired and some folks becoming envious. They might be jealous that Jokic, a big man who isn't known for athleticism or speed, is making it all look effortless. This jealousy has led to some people, notably former NBA player and current ESPN analyst Kendrick Perkins, saying some pretty outlandish things about Nikola. Let's explore what Perkins and other NBA analysts and players have commented on Jokic and whether it makes any sense to think that way. Let's start by hearing what Kendrick Perkins actually had to say.
I just want to know, what song are we dancing to? Because I'm walking up into the club, I got my J's on. I didn't know it was a dress code to put on church shoes. So when I say that, Stephen A., when I come on here every single time and I ask, what is the criteria for the MVP and how the goalposts move, I'm asking these questions for a reason. And so when I look at JJ and I hear him talk, because he's so big in analytics and he's a historian when it comes down to diving in deep and going back into history and talking about the evolution of the game, why didn't he never bring up this in particular subject? When it comes down to guys winning MVP since 1990, it's only 3 guys that won the MVP that wasn't top 10 in scoring. Do you know who those 3 guys were?
Who are they?
Steve Nash, Jokic, and Dirk Nowitzki. No.
Dirk Nowitzki.
What do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it.
They are all white. He didn't want to come out and say it, but we all understood what he tried to say. Perkins holds a preference for the eye test over advanced statistics. Reddick, a member of the First Take team, eagerly engaged in a spirited debate against Perkins' contrary views, effectively countering with a combination of statistical and eye test arguments. Reddick aptly pointed out,
because I know that he doesn't like advanced stats, but often advanced stats inform us, they provide insight. They often reinforce what we see. So they kind of complement the eye test. I know you're an eye test guy and you don't like advanced stats, but I might use a few here. I just want to react, because I didn't hear this, the idea that his teammates shoot good or bad shots. So Second Spectrum, wonderful company, they installed tracking cameras in every arena 10 years ago. And their technology has evolved, and one thing we've learned from that is we can actually track which players create good shots for their teammates. And Nikola Jokic is top 5 in shot quality created. So if you watch them play, Perk, and I know you do, sometimes you might not stay up late on the Mountain Time Zone, but if you watch them play, when he's deciding whether or not to shoot or score, he's often making a read, because that's what good basketball players do. They make reads, so if he's getting a double, he's gonna kick. If he sees the help coming too early, he's gonna swing it to the corner. It's a good pass. What's the most efficient three in basketball?
Perkins countered assertively, expressing uncertainty about the MVP criteria and how people assess players, be it based on team records, advanced stats, the eye test, or any other factor for that matter. Max Kellerman made a rather surprising statement some time ago. I've never witnessed a disconnect like this, where a player monopolizes the MVP but barely makes my top 5. Following his statement, Kendrick Perkins, his ESPN colleague, chimed in by suggesting that Nikola needs to demonstrate playoff success to secure future MVP titles. It's rather absurd to claim that Jokic isn't among the top 5 players in the league, especially when he's leading his team to the number 1 seed in the conference while consistently posting a triple-double. However, it's crucial to remember that the NBA regular season MVP award solely considers performance during the regular season, as its name implies. Let's address this myth as well. In the 2021 and 2022 playoffs, the Nuggets fell to the eventual champions, the Golden State Warriors. During this series, Jokic was surrounded by players who were far from being high producers. Monty Morris, Will Barton, who was released by the Wizards, Austin Rivers with an average of 5 points this season. Green, averaging just 6 points per game. Bones Highland, shooting at 39% from the field. And Bryn Forbes and DeMarcus. Draymond Green is well known for being straightforward in the NBA. He's a dedicated student of the game, frequently seen studying videos of players from different teams, noticing details that others might miss. In a Nuggets game, Draymond noticed defensive mistakes by Nikola in the first half. Draymond remembered,
I had 4 clips at halftime, and it was a Nuggets game, and I went at Jokic's defense. I'm like, if they're going to ever be a good team, he's the back line of the defense. He has to be good defensively.
Draymond didn't mince words as he critiqued Nikola's defensive plays. He noted,
and I showed 4 clips, him not rotating over as the low man, him not moving, 4 clips. And I was very critical of him.
Later on, Draymond mentioned that the Joker began incorporating those same defensive rotations.
He came up to me that following year and he said, hey, he said something along the lines like, I saw what you said about my defense or something. You were right, or I appreciate it, or something he said like that. And he said, I've gotten better. I said, you've 100% gotten better. I've been watching you this year, and you've 100% gotten better.
Draymond reflected on this encounter, remarking,
and that was a big moment for me because this TV thing is new.
Looking ahead, it's clear that Draymond has the makings of a remarkable NBA analyst once his playing days are behind him. That much is certain. This shows how giving helpful advice can really boost a player's performance. On the flip side, there were times when talking trash to Nikola actually motivated him. Players like Russell Westbrook, Morris, and Dwight Howard attempted to mess with the Joker's mind, but they all came up short. Trash-talking Nikola is as ineffective as claiming his MVPs are based on racist reasons. It just makes you look foolish. These 3 guys who took a shot at the Joker ended up on the losing side. Nikola is usually a laid-back guy unless you start getting on his nerves. I guess the word's out, which is why most players don't even bother trying him anymore. It's mainly the analysts now. Another NBA analyst questioning Nikola's MVP win is Nick Wright, famous for his unique opinions in NBA media. He didn't shy away from expressing his doubts on this matter.
The MVP having to be awarded in some hallway somewhere because he's not playing in round 2 ain't great. And in the macro wilds, when you look at the list of league MVPs over history, I say this with respect to Jokic. Historically speaking, he would be the worst one we've had in 35 years. Chris Paul wouldn't be. Chris Paul's an all-time great player. Yep. Nikola Jokic is having a great season and a very good player.
Nick Wright clarifies that he doesn't consider himself a Nikola hater, stating,
2 years ago I was called a hater because I said he would be second on my MVP ballot to Chris Paul, who then swept his ass out of the playoffs.
The second argument doesn't even hold water. People need to understand that the NBA Most Valuable Player Award is solely for the regular season. It's based on what a player demonstrates in the 82 games leading up to the playoffs, not during the postseason. Despite being swept, Nikola performed exceptionally well in the series against the Suns, averaging 25 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 5.8 assists, leading his Nuggets in these 3 statistical categories. Chris Paul's team defeating Nikola's Nuggets doesn't affect Paul's MVP race. Therefore, when someone like Nick Wright brings up playoff success and the regular season MVP in the same conversation, it's best to tune them out, as it's much simpler that way. However, be prepared. They'll keep arguing.
Last year, I was called a hater because I said, there's 2 guys in the Western Conference carrying mediocre rosters.
Nick recalled,
Jokic and Luka. And everyone said, oh, Nick, you're showing nepotism, parental bias. And I said, no, Luka's better. And then Luka found his way to the Western Conference Finals. Listen, Jokic, had he not won those previous MVPs, to me would be the leading candidate this year.
Once more, let's say it together. Playoff success doesn't factor into winning the regular season MVP. There's something called voter fatigue, and this situation exemplifies it. The regular season MVP should be awarded to the most valuable player of that season, regardless of whether they're receiving it for the first time or not. Back in 2015, giving the number 15 to Nikola might have seemed like a snub to Carmelo Anthony. At that time, Carmelo was the Nuggets superstar, reviving fan support and excitement for Denver basketball. The team was winning, and every game was packed with fans. However, once Carmelo left, it seemed like his number 15 jersey would be retired, but that didn't happen. After a couple of seasons without a number 15 in Denver, Nikola came along and was given that number, which he had been wearing even before joining the NBA. This obviously irked Carmelo, and he still seems upset when talking about it today. In a podcast appearance, Carmelo Anthony expressed his displeasure with the Nuggets giving the number 15 to Nikola. Melo feels like the decision about giving Nikola Jokic the number 15 jersey was because the front office wanted to erase everything regarding Carmelo Anthony's Denver Nuggets legacy, and that Nikola found himself in the middle of that. It seems like Carmelo still hasn't let this one go. Nikola has really proven himself in the NBA, grabbing consecutive MVP awards. Yet, as the saying goes, too much of a good thing can become tiresome. And it seems like voters might be feeling a bit worn out. The constant praise for the Serbian star has become so regular that it might overshadow the fantastic achievements of other MVP contenders. Regardless of who eventually wins the MVP, one thing is clear. These contenders truly deserve recognition. They've brought exceptional skills, passion, and dedication to the NBA. And as fans, we should appreciate every moment they spend on the court. The MVP race celebrates the excellence of the sport, and as spectators, we're lucky to witness this golden era of basketball greatness. Let's enjoy the competition, relish the performances, and value these MVP candidates as they continue to impress us with their best.